Hey everyone, today we're diving into a topic close to my heart, learning English as an introvert.
Oh, I love this one. A lot of people think introverts have it harder because they're not super outgoing. But that's not the whole story, is it?
Definitely not. The truth is, introverts actually have unique strengths that can make them amazing at learning languages.
And you're speaking from experience, right? Noah, you've said you're an introvert yourself.
Yeah, 100%. Making new foreign friends or joining big group conversations. Not really my thing, but I've realized that introverts have so much potential when it comes to learning languages, when we use the right approach.
That's such an important message. And hey, guys, if you're an introvert learning English, we want to hear from you.
Yeah? Share your favorite techniques or biggest struggles in the comments. We'd love to hear your story.
All right, let's get started.
Part 1. Don't force yourself to be outgoing.
So, let's start with a big question. Do introverts need to be outgoing to learn English? What do you think, Noah?
Honestly, not at all. You don't have to change who you are to be successful in language learning. Being an introvert doesn't mean you can't improve. You just approach things differently.
But I feel like there's this pressure, especially in language learning. People say, oh, you need to join big conversation groups or speak up in front of strangers. What's your take on that?
Yeah, I've heard that too, and I think it can be really overwhelming for introverts. Forcing yourself to do things that feel unnatural, like jumping into a big group discussion, can actually backfire. Instead of helping, it might make you feel stressed or even start to dislike learning English.
That's such a good point. I mean, if you're constantly uncomfortable, it's hard to stay motivated. It's like trying to swim upstream. It just wears you out.
I remember trying to join a large language exchange group once, thinking it'd help me improve. But I ended up sitting there, feeling super awkward and not saying a word. I left feeling defeated, like I wasn't good enough.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. That sounds tough. It's hard when you feel out of place like that. Did it make you want to give up?
For a while, yeah. But then I realized the problem wasn't me. It was the method. Introverts don't thrive in environments where we're expected to speak up without preparation or connection. It's just not how we're wired.
That makes so much sense. So instead of pushing yourself into those uncomfortable situations, what's the better approach?
Focus on methods that fit your personality. Like, instead of large groups, maybe find one or two language partners you feel comfortable with. And use your natural strengths, which we'll talk about in the next part.
I love that idea. You're saying introverts don't need to force themselves to fit into an extrovert's world, right?
Oh yeah, language learning should feel like growth, not punishment. If something feels wrong, it's okay to step back and try a different approach.
That's such an important reminder. All right, let's dive into how introverts can actually use their strengths to improve their English.
Part 2. Use your strengths.
All right, now that we know introverts don't need to be outgoing, let's talk about something more exciting, using your strengths.
Yes, introverts have so many amazing qualities that can actually give them an edge when learning English. Let's break it down.
First up, self-reflection. This is such a powerful trait. What do you think, Noah?
Oh, totally. Self-reflection means introverts spend time analyzing their thoughts and actions. In language learning, this helps you notice what works for you and what doesn't. For example, after a conversation, you might think, okay, I struggled with past tense there. How can I fix it next time?
That's a great point. So, how can introverts use this strength effectively?
Keep a journal. Write about your learning process, what you're proud of, what you want to improve. It's a great way to track progress and set goals.
Love that idea. All right, next, focus and observation. Introverts are usually great at both, right?
Absolutely. Introverts notice the little details. For example, when listening to English speakers, you might pick up on how they use certain phrases or their tone. That's a huge advantage because it helps you sound more natural.
Yeah, and being focused means you can really dive into a topic without getting distracted. How can introverts practice this?
Try shadowing. Listen to short clips of English speakers and repeat after them, matching their tone and rhythm. It's an amazing way to train your ear and improve your pronunciation.
That's such a cool technique. Okay, moving on. Introverts are often great listeners.
Oh, for sure. Listening is probably one of the most underrated skills in language learning. Introverts tend to listen carefully, which helps them pick up grammar, vocabulary, and even cultural nuances.
So, if you're an introvert, what's the best way to build on this skill?
Watch English shows or podcasts that match your interests. Focus on the dialogue and try to guess what phrases mean in context. Over time, you'll naturally absorb new words and expressions.
Love it. And lastly, introverts prefer meaningful conversations. This one is so interesting. How does it help with English?
Well, introverts don't like small talk as much, but they shine in deeper conversations. This can be a huge help because you're more likely to remember vocabulary and phrases when the topic is meaningful to you.
That makes sense. So instead of forcing yourself to chat with anyone, you could find a language partner who shares your hobbies or interests.
Yeah, that way, every conversation feels engaging and useful, not just a box you're ticking.
Wow, these strengths really are game changers. Introverts just need to know how to use them to their advantage.
That's right. Part 3. Right to express yourself.
So, let's talk about one of the most underrated ways to improve your English: writing to express yourself.
Yes, writing is such a powerful tool, especially for introverts. It's like having a conversation with yourself, but in English.
That's a great way to put it. When you write, you're not just practicing grammar and vocabulary, you're building a connection with the language. It's almost emotional, isn't it?
Yeah, we call it self-connection. By expressing your thoughts in English, you start thinking in English too. That's a huge step toward fluency.
And here's the surprising part: writing can even help with speaking. It sounds counterintuitive, but it works.
Totally. Writing forces you to organize your thoughts. When you do that regularly, those clear, organized ideas start showing up in your conversations. You'll find yourself speaking more confidently and naturally.
So, how should introverts get started with this?
Start small. Use simple phrases at first. Don't worry about being perfect. Then, as you get more comfortable, make your sentences more descriptive. For example, instead of "I like the beach," you could write, "I enjoy relaxing on a quiet beach, listening to the waves."
That's great advice. And setting a regular time to write can help too, right?
Yes, consistency is key. When you write at the same time every day, it becomes a habit. It's like giving your brain regular English practice time.
What about people who don't know what to write? Sometimes staring at a blank page is the hardest part.
That's where prompts come in. Start with simple personal questions like, "What's your happiest memory?" or "Describe a place that feels special to you." These kinds of topics help you think in English about your own experiences.
Oh, I love that. It's true. When you've already written about these things, it's easier to talk about them later. Your brain has those ideas ready to go.
Well, it's like we talked about in the episode for English learners who can't speak. Writing your thoughts first helps you respond faster when you're in a real conversation.
That's so smart. Any advanced tips for people who want to take this further?
Definitely. Try writing dialogues. Imagine a conversation you might have, like ordering coffee or asking for directions. Write it out, then practice saying it aloud. It's great for preparing yourself for real-life situations.
That's such a creative idea. And if you're stuck on what dialogues to write, we actually shared 400 daily topics in another episode called "You Should Be Your Own English Teacher." You can pick any topic you like and start there.
Perfect. Writing really is such a versatile tool, and it's one that introverts can totally own. Part 4. Find your niche language tribe.
Now, let's dive into something that can really make learning English enjoyable: finding your niche language tribe.
Wait, niche language tribe? That sounds fancy. What does it mean?
It's actually simple. It means finding a small, meaningful community where you feel comfortable practicing English. Introverts don't thrive in big, loud groups. Smaller, focused groups are where they shine.
Ah, I get it. So instead of joining a massive language exchange with 100 people, you could find a book club or an online group that shares your interests.
Yep. For example, if you love photography, join a photography group where people discuss tips and ideas in English. It's a great way to learn while talking about something you already enjoy.
That makes so much sense. And for introverts who prefer staying in their comfort zone, they can create their own space at home for English learning, right?
Totally. You can dedicate a small corner of your home as your English-only zone. Add a mini library with English books, posters of inspiring quotes, and sticky notes with advanced phrases. It's like having your personal immersion bubble.
Oh, that's such a cool idea. I can imagine it now. A cozy corner with all your favorite English things. What about hobbies? How can introverts use their hobbies to learn English?
That's the fun part. If you love cooking, watch English recipe videos or read cookbooks in English. If you're into sports, check out English sports news or interviews with players. Learning through your hobbies makes it feel less like work and more like fun.
That's brilliant. So, the key is to connect English to something you're already passionate about. It keeps you motivated and engaged.
And the best part is that you're not just learning English, you're learning it in a way that feels natural and enjoyable for you.
I love it. So, whether it's creating your own space or finding a small community, introverts can totally make language learning their own.
Absolutely. All right, let's wrap up the episode with a quick recap and some final thoughts. All right, introverts, now it's your turn. Take what we talked about today and try it out.
Yep, start small. Maybe set up your English zone or write about something personal in English. Just one step can make a difference.
And if you're looking for a community, find a group that fits your interests. Even 1 or 2 meaningful conversations can boost your confidence.
Also, reflect on your strengths. Use your focus, your listening skills, and your love for meaningful conversations to your advantage.
Most importantly, don't forget to make it fun and personal. That's what keeps you motivated.
We'd love to hear how it's going. What works for you? What's been a challenge? Share your thoughts in the comments.
And if you know someone who's learning English, share this episode with them. They might find it helpful too.
Thanks for spending time with us on Daily Native English. We'll see you in the next episode. Take care.
Bye for now. Keep learning.